Hello and welcome to Freedom Through Astrology, where we're giving you the keys. It's freedomthroughastrology.com. I'm your astrologer, Donald Patak. Yes, that actually is my last name. It's Slavic, specifically Polish. Uh, there you go, freedomthroughastrology.com. There's my contact information, standard YouTube copyright. Keys to the reading, because I do read a little differently. I use what's called constellational astrology or astrology by the visible sky. Tropical astrology fixed the signs to seasons back in the Roman era. Well, I don't live in ancient Rome, and quite honestly, neither do you. So I'm reading astrology the way I believe the ancient astrologers read it. First, using the visible sky, I read the planets where an astronomer would see them. Number two, I'm using the natural size of the constellations. There are astrologers who will make each sign 30 degrees. In reality, they're all different sizes. Virgo is huge at 48 and a half degrees. Aries, Cancer, Scorpio, Libra, all of them are barely 25. And I think it kind of gets in Leo's craw that it's actually the second largest constellation after Virgo, but I use the natural size of the constellations and I use astrological midpoints. The IAU boundaries are kind of arbitrarily drawn, and Athan Shimenti, in his astronomical work, discovered that some of the stars for I believe it was Scorpio were in the next constellation, which is not exactly right. So he fixed that up by making his astrological midpoint system. I like it. I think it's more accurate. And I do read 13 signs because if you're looking at the astronomy between Scorpio and Sagittarius, you will find this nice gap. And that gap happens to be a fucus. It's the sign of the wounded healer. It's of a man holding a snake by the head and the tail. The snake symbolizes knowledge in ancient societies, and holding it by the head and the tail means you are controlling it or able to use it. Fucus used it to heal himself, and ideally, you're using the knowledge gained to heal yourself and then heal others with similar wounds. Um, Many different traditions have a mythos around surrounding a wounded healer. This is the weekly edition. This is the weekly edition. These are universal lessons, so please do have some compassion on your fellow Earth travelers. Um, Evolutionary astrology. I interpret using evolutionary astrology, which says that the chart is our lessons to learn, and that you have freedom of choice on how you're going to respond to these lessons. There are astrologers who are a little fatalistic, in my opinion, and saying, "Oh, this planet's bad, and this is what's going to happen to you," and doom and gloom. It's like the planets are teachers, the signs are teachers. They have lessons to offer. Are you going to learn the lessons or not? So I recognize lessons to learn and freedom of choice because you do have it. Dates are based on the Eastern US time zone because I do live right outside of Buffalo, New York. I'm within 1 degree of being exact because if I go wider than that, it gets a little overwhelming for me. And if I'm overwhelmed, you're going to be lost. And the software that I'm using for my astrology work is Capricorn by Prometheus. And these are the weekly transits for the week of March 3rd through 9th, 2025. The sun, it begins the week in Aquarius, and late on Sunday, it steps into Pisces. So we do have a sign change with the sun entering Pisces. The moon, oh, wow, I forgot to fix that. Hold on a second. And I had that in my notes to fix. How do you, what in the world? The moon begins in Pisces this week and goes through Cancer. So the moon is relatively active. Taurus is a pretty big sign. When we do get to that, you will see we do have a fairly decent size there, but it is actually relatively active this week. We do have the first quarter moon in Taurus this week. I believe that's on Thursday. Our active planets this week, both the Sun and Mercury, as they're the only planets initiating transits. It's actually a very calm week as far as transits go. I did talk about the sign change with the Sun in Pisces. Our power transit. This is a transit that is carrying on for a very long time. And in this case, it's Neptune opposing the South Node. And I like to use the opposition in this case as a time of reflection. And we do have one planet in retrograde, that is Venus. Venus is in retrograde after all the craziness of February and Valentine's Day, et cetera, et cetera. Venus, the planet of relationships, decides she needs a break and will be there until mid-April, I believe. Let me pull my thing down here. There we go. And as you can see, like I said, there's aside from Monday, we have that. When we have a transit Tuesday into Wednesday, another or Tuesday into Thursday, early, late on Thursday into Sunday. So, I mean, only 2 transits, so it's a quiet week in that respect. You can see the moon bouncing along there, and nicely on Thursday we have the quarter moon. And this is late. What's the matter, Tuxedo? My poor cat. Your kitten commercial today is from Tuxedo. For some reason, he's just randomly crying today. I am not able to figure this out. He's a cat. What is there to understand? So on Thursday, we do have, I believe, the first quarter moon is early in the day on Thursday, and then this second transit and sign change. So it's really 3 kind of bursts of energy this week. And let me clear this out, close that out. But yep, there we go. And from way back in February, and this is like I said, this is a long transit, and it's going to go into March 14, aka Pi Day. On that day, bring a pie to work, share it with the people, and say Happy Pi Day. Most people aren't going to get it. But Neptune, the planet of our spirituality and being present and learning to be present with your spirituality in Pisces, is reflecting on the South Node, or how you hold yourself back in life is the way I like to interpret that. What in the world just happened to my... There we go. How you hold yourself back in life. In Virgo, unrealistic expectations and perfectionism. So ideally what you're doing is you're learning how to be in the present moment and recognizing when these habits or these patterns of perfectionism are rearing their ugly head, so that you can say, wait a minute, I'm stopping that. And you're learning to be in the present moment and working with it. So reflect on how perfectionism, unrealistic expectations are holding you back. Learn to be present moment can lead to the inspiration. Pisces about inspiration. That is necessary to achieve actual potential at this time. Remember, we're growing in cycles. And that even though Neptune is relatively slow transit, I think it's 137 years to orbit the sun, the nodes of the moon are 18 and just a little over 18 and a half years. So they're going to whack up on Neptune a couple of times. So do be aware of that and how you hold yourself back, and be aware in this moment. And it's an opposition, so it's a reflection. So make sure you're taking time to reflect on that. Now, the shadow here is Neptune can get caught in illusion and delusion. And the South Node in Virgo can really ramp it up and have you, Virgo, like plan things out and over plan things. And Virgo will have lists of lists. I don't know why. But delusion and fantasy keeps you caught in the past and repeating the same mistakes in different ways. And it can also lead to denying that even a problem exists. So it's basically living a lie and holding yourself up to those unrealistic expectations, knowing you'll never meet them. But and that is going to be within a degree until March 14th. So we got another 2 weeks of this. On Friday, we did have the moon entering Pisces. So the moon, your emotional self, entering Pisces, and it's seeking inspiration. And during this time, of course, it will transit Neptune right there, and Mercury, and the North Node, Mercury, and then Venus. So it's a lot of transits in in this cycle. But the moon, and it's seeking emotional inspiration. And if you, and I had this explained to me, emotions, motion, energy and motion. It's what really drives you. So moon entering Pisces, be open to inspiration and insights, possible to receive a fresh vision for your life at this time, or something that really motivates you forward. And the shadow here is withdrawing from the world or numbing yourself can lead to feelings of emptiness. So uh, you're either filling yourself up to move on, or you're closing off that gas tank, not taking anything in, and kind of burning yourself out. And Mars will be conjunct Neptune in Pisces. Um, Not Mars, Mercury. Mercury is a planet of learning and communication. And with working with Neptune, it's about learning how to listen and hear spirit and receive inspiration and learning from spirit. So be open to learning, communicating about spirituality, spiritual practices, being open to inspiration, opportunities, connect with higher perspectives. We are spiritual beings having a physical experience. I think that's one of the hardest lessons that people have in their life. And excuse me, getting over another cold. Um, so being open to that higher knowledge is very, very important. And being willing to listen, and knowing how you receive your inspiration and your insights, very important. The shadow here is being a know-it-all or shutting learning off. Either way, and thinking you can't learn it all. Either one of them turns learning off, and Neptune just falls into illusion and delusion. So you can get a false impression of who you are and what you know or what you think you know, or living the lie that you can't learn it all. Pisces is numbing yourself to the pain, and numbing yourself to higher knowledge can have you lost in a maze of hype, and may seem that something is being lost, for you might not be aware of what it is. Those are my notes there. But this is, you being lost in your own head, kind of. I think the best way to describe it. And we have finally Sun in Aquarius squaring Jupiter in Taurus. The Sun in Aquarius, the Sun is your core identity, and Aquarius is your authentic self and who you are. And the best way to understand this actually is to know your natal sun sign, because you're learning to become the authentic version of that. So for me, actually, this is kind of interesting because my natal sun sign is Taurus. So I'm learning, what does it mean for me to be an authentic Taurus? My friend's daughter is a Pisces. What does it mean for her to be an authentic Pisces? So that's kind of the lesson here. And then the challenge, squares are challenges. The purpose here is to strengthen you. So if you work through this challenge properly, you get strengthened, and think of it as stepping stones as well. Jupiter in Taurus is the opportunity for peace, stability, and strength. So the challenge here is to release, because this is a waning square, the challenge is to release who you are not, so that you can strengthen who you really are and find the peace and strength that comes from being a more authentic person. I'm going to leave it at that. I think it even says better than what I've got written in my notes. But the shadow here, the sun in Aquarius is you being who you are not, either acting up and acting out to get a reaction, or selling out trying to fit in. And the square, instead of it being a challenge, it's crushing weight. And if you thought that the positive square was hard and challenging, the shadow of the square is just outright destructive. And Jupiter in Taurus, Jupiter, instead of being opportunity, is over or under confidence. So you being over or under confident about who you are. And Taurus can either be lazy or that proverbial bull in a china shop. So acting out to get a reaction. And when that doesn't work, you're doing more and more and trying to push more and more buttons, or you're selling out trying to fit in and just going for the lazy way out. And either which way, you're not being who you are, and you're being crushed to dust. Oops. Yeah, there were no transits on Sunday, but Monday, the moon enters Aries. So the moon, your emotional self, is looking to shadow. What is going on? Oh, she's right there. I'm having cat interruptions today. Shadow does not like Kit. Kit does not really care for Shadow. Come on, Kit. Just sit on me. There we go. Sorry about the interruption. Your cat and commercials today have been brought to you by Tuxedo and Kit and Shadow. So the moon is your emotional self, and in Aries, it's looking to have courage. So this is, the ability to express, learning how to emotionally express yourself, and having the courage to do that. And taking a stand as well. Accept those challenges. Accept, Aries does bring challenges with it, and its purpose is to teach you courage and strength. The shadow here, well, we know the moon can be moody, and in Aries, it falls into fear, and that can be cowardice and that can be anger. So this can be trying to hide away, or this can be explosive outbursts. So falling into fear leads to emotional outbursts or quiet resentment. Either which way, not a place you want to be. Tuesday, one of our transits this week, we have Mercury in Pisces in a sextile to Pluto in Capricorn. Mercury in Pisces is you learning to be present and paying attention to what's around you so you can learn from it. And Pluto's a wonderful planet to work with. Really, really, he is. And Pluto is the planet of transformation and change. And in Capricorn, it's doing the work of change. So you're getting so your Mercury in Pluto, sextile, is excited about learning learning what you need to learn so that you can make these changes and you can transform and become a higher version of yourself, and be open to spirit and inspiration to help you work through this. So learning to be present now can help you with doing the work of deep transformation, and open-minded paradigm shifts can help with this as well. So being open-minded to this inspiration can help you. Now, excuse me. Mercury in Pisces, the shadow of this, thinking that, you can't learn, either you know it all or you can't learn it all. And in Pisces, numbing yourself and falling into that illusion or delusion. So it's living the lie of your knowledge and skills. And Pluto in Capricorn can just be overwhelmed, cynical, nihilistic, thinking nothing's going to change, so why bother? So instead of building, it's destroying. And this can be a very lonely process. So the sextile here can have you thinking that you don't need to learn anything or you can't learn anything, and leaving you trapped in a prison of consistency. Did I even write that down? Wow. Yeah, an out of control mind caught up in fantasies, illusion, delusion, leading to deeper wounds, feelings of loneliness. Cynicism can arise or contribute to feelings of isolation. Yeah, that's the prison of consistency. And on Tuesday, we also have the moon entering Taurus. Our emotional self is looking for peace and stability. And through this, it can find strength and emotional strength as well. Because if you think of Taurus as the bull, I've never met a weak bull. I've worked on farms. They're big, they're strong, they're capable. So this is finding emotional strength. So, and let's face it, read the story Ferdinand the Bull. Do your work, but also take time to rest. So you take time to rest, and the opportunity to recover and find emotional strength, peace and quiet can help you. So even though this is a good chunk of the middle of the week, I think Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Tuesday, Wednesday, definitely into Thursday, possibly a little bit into Friday. Know how to pace yourself so that you can do the work and rest up, because you work, you rest, you work, you rest. And it leads, actually, there's this whole story about that. If you don't take time to sharpen the axe, you're never going to be able to cut wood. So I'll tell that full story sometime. It's actually pretty cool. But yeah, there's that. And emotionally, the shadow here, being emotionally stubborn leads to exhaustion. Being lazy is not the same as resting, because bulls do some work. Wednesday, no transits happening, though we do have a transit going on. So do work on that transit. Take a breath. Remember to exhale. Repeat. Did you get in a fight? What in the world happened there? Wow. My cats fight when I'm not around. I'm not happy. Thursday, March 6th, Sun in Aquarius, trining Mars in Gemini. Again, we said the Sun in Aquarius is about you learning to be your authentic self, spotlight on authenticity. Mars in Gemini is having the courage to learn and communicate. So one of my notes that I actually wrote down after I posted this online was have the courage to communicate who you really are, and have also the courage to learn who you really are and what interests you. So focus on being authentic gives you the courage to explore your interests. And I would also say communicating those interests as well, because people are here to learn about themselves, but also learn about other people and how they can work with them best or be with them best. Potentially with greater energy, becoming more self-aware can help you channel your energy into what calls to you, or your authentic self. I think that's really important. And a trine is an easy energy to work with. The trine and the sextile, two easy energies, a little bit, especially with a trine. The trine, a little bit goes a long way. The sextile's an excitement. The trine is a very strong interest. So do expect opportunities on 6th through the 9th to find those opportunities where you can communicate who and learn and communicate who you really are. And of course, we have the shadow, and the sun in Aquarius, like I said, is either acting up or selling out. And Mars in Gemini, the shadow of Mars is falling into fear. And in Gemini, it's like a squirrel that has ADHD on espresso shots. It's all over the place and it's living in fear. And it can't focus for the life of itself. And my notes here have it being irrational and stubborn can lead to angry outbursts or shutting down. Uh, Fear can rule, and playing the victim or antagonizing others creates more problems. No one wins a war of words. And note that how you're acting, whether you're in the shadow, if you're acting out to get a reaction from people, they're gonna react badly. But if you're selling out and trying to fit in, that's not going to come across with any degree of authenticity, and people aren't going to like that either. So be careful. And on Thursday, we do have the first quarter moon in Taurus. I do believe, yeah, by the looks of this is happening at around 10 o'clock in the morning, if I remember right. But this is a square, so we do have the authentic self in a square to the moon in Taurus where you're looking for emotional peace and stability. And this is, the square here is strengthening. So because the moon is the fast mover here. So find emotional peace that comes from being your authentic self. And knowing that if you're doing that, you're strengthening yourself and becoming a better version of yourself as well. The shadow is, the shadow. Well, we know the sun in Taurus and the sun in Aquarius is either acting out or selling out, and in the moon in Taurus is either the bull in the china shop, or the angry bull, or the frustrated bull, or it's lazy and just sitting there looking for the easy way out. And the square here then in the square in the shadow then becomes crushing. So trying to be who you are not can be very angering and frustrating and leave you feeling very destabilized and potentially angry or frustrated. So there we go. Friday, the moon enters Gemini. So joys, yeah. So emotional curiosity. Hey, great time to be moon to be in Gemini over the weekend when you have the time to hopefully get up, go out and have some fun. For those people who have the Monday through Friday 9 to 5. So emotionally, you're up, you're curious, you want to learn, you're open to communication as well. So be curious and update what you need to know and find out what it is you do need to know and update yourself on that and keep yourself in the loop. Pay attention to what's going on around you. Listen, share with people what you do know or when they ask. Be very important, very powerful. And in the shadow, the moon being moody, and in Gemini, it's either talking too much, being that cocky know-it-all, or even worse, not sharing what it knows or thinking that it can't learn at all. So being distracted, shutting down for any reason leads to learning nothing and feel like you're going nowhere fast. And then, mind you, during this transit, we do have the moon crossing Mars. So if you're working, that's emotional courage. But if you're falling into that shadow, that's like emotional outbursts and anger. And on Saturday, We just have that one transit going on, plus the South Node in Pisces. So take a breath. Remember to exhale, repeat. I don't know why I have to give all 3 steps. It seems common sense to me. Sunday, we start with the moon entering Cancer. So on Sunday, when you're watching U.S. Major League Rugby, remember to take care of yourself emotionally and be gentle with yourself and practice self-care. Time for healing and nurturing. So do take Sunday as a time, when you're getting ready for the week, to take care of yourself and prepare yourself. You okay, girl? Okay, Kit's a ball of muscle and so is Shadow. And those two get into a fight. It's a mess. I stuck my hands into a fight with them once, and my hands really got ripped up. Don't ask me why I did that without leather gloves on. But there we go. The moon on Sunday, the moon in Cancer. Emotionally, take care of yourself. Take actions and do things that are nurturing and healing, resting and restorative for yourself. The shadow, moon can be moody, and in Cancer, it's defensive. So it can be taking swipes at people or trying to hide away and be invisible. So being defensive and sniping at people can lead to more wounds and isolation. Being invisible and not having your needs met has you feeling lonely and unappreciated. And on Sunday, we have, and this is way late at night here on the East Coast, but other places it'll be earlier. The sun enters Pisces. Welcome to Pisces season. And so the sun in your sun is your core identity. It's who you are. And in Pisces, it's just learning to be present, seeing life from a higher perspective and a different perspective, and being open to spirituality and inspiration. So focus on spirituality and your higher self. Learning to be present, go with the flow, helps you become more of who you are at heart. And your inner life can take a more important role right now. Pisces is about, Pisces can be about the inner life, and she does not want to share the box with you. Ay, ay, ay. So this can also be about the inner life and a time of taking care of that and being open to spirituality and spiritual guidance and inspiration. And the shadow of the sun is an out of control ego. So it's either burning too bright, and in Pisces, you're that self-styled guru who knows it all, which gets even worse when it gets conjunct to Neptune. Or it can be that star that burns itself out or doesn't want to shine, living in denial of that spiritual self and that higher self and trying to hide it away. So falling into illusion or fantasy leads you becoming someone that you are not. Denying your true identity leads to the living of a lie. Ick. Not someone you want to be. And that's our weekly forecasts. So you can follow me on Facebook, Instagram, and YouTube. I'm on all 3 of those, and those 3 make billions of dollars every year off of your data, man. If you're getting money from them, not as much as what they're making off of you. There's the Digital Soul Space, which is on the Mighty Networks, which has your privacy and your data secured. And it's a spiritual clearinghouse. I call it the spiritual safe place on the internet. In addition to astrology, there are people with crystals, tarot, wide variety of oracle decks that they talk about. And what else is there? And with a wide variety of spiritual practice too. I call it the spiritual safe house of the web. Site reminder. That's that. Go to here. I'm just going to do the short, sweet, simple version of that this week. This is my main page. If you scroll down, you can see it's not scrolling down. There we go. The keys that I offer are the charts that I read. First and foremost is your birth chart, which tells you who you came here to become. The past life or the karmic reading shares a wound that you came here to heal. And then the second set of keys I offer are the horoscopes, whether they're the year-long, quarterly, which is 3 months, or a monthly horoscope, which I like to do new moon to new moon. But if you want it the first of the month, the end of the month, I do that as well. I do offer packages which combine these readings and give a 10% discount built in. If you click on subscribe, takes you to a window, pop in an email address, get an email notification of with a newsletter that tells you when these videos are available, and also all my number of astrological insights for the week, in addition to discounts. If you click on blog, that's where I do blog posts and take aspects and transits deeper. If you click on services, that's how you order the readings. Scheduling is where you order the packages. So individual readings. And the way I do my readings is I send you a link with a recording of the video. You watch the video, make your notes, come up with your questions. And then when we get together for the hour or hour and a half, depending on the length of time of what reading you're ordering, when we get together, you're using that time to ask questions and get clarification. It works really, really well. So let me go back to here because I know my voice is not that great, been that great. I've been sneezing all day and my sinuses are going. Oh, I do have digital office hours. Usually 7 o'clock to 10 o'clock on weeknights. You just go and you buy a pack. You buy not a package. You go buy 15. You order 15 minutes to an hour and a half. I get the notification. I send you a Zoom link, and you play 20 questions with me. For that amount of time, you ask me the questions, and I dig it deeper and give you answers. So there's that. Thank you. Remember to like, follow, share, sign up for the newsletter, and remember, in the visible sky, your life changes. Thank you very much for your patience, especially with the cats. Have yourself the best week possible. Oops.